Hello and welcome back to the Skies the Limit podcast. I hope you're all doing well. Today's episode is all about how rejection is just redirection and the theory behind rejection therapy. If any of you follow me on my Instagram, you'll know I've started doing rejection therapy. So it's basically I'll get into what it is, but I only found out about it 2 days ago, and I've absolutely been loving it. I love the concept, the idea behind it. So I wanted to make a podcast about it because I think if more people knew about it, they can just take it into their everyday life. And I think it's just great. And I think it's something anyone can do. You just need to just be yeah, whatever happens, happens. So I think let's talk about the theory behind rejection therapy first, because that is the whole concept is really interesting to me. Brains are basically biologically wired to fear rejection, to keep us safe from things, but my take from that is yes, our brains do keep us safe, and sometimes rejection is a bad thing. But I think our brains have kind of switched it and been like, any no is a bad no. Or like, if people are judging me, that's rejection and that's a bad thing. Rejection is stopping you doing what you love because you're scared of people rejecting you. Or you're scared that people are going to judge you, which I guess is a rejection. So I think that is the part where we need to get over, because there's no point like not putting yourself first just to protect yourself from worrying what other people are thinking of you, if that makes sense. And it's kind of just like, put your joy first, do whatever makes you happy. If people judge you, that's on them. And it's just about, I guess the point of rejection therapy is like, there's nothing wrong with getting a no. There's nothing wrong with people thinking you're weird. There's nothing wrong with you getting rejected, full stop. So it's basically, I think averagely people do it for 30 days. I know some people have done it for 100, some people do it for like 24 days, or like, so like obviously it's 2024, so it's like do it for 24 days to represent you did it in the like 2024. I saw someone did that, but like it was back in 2023, so I'm doing it for 2020, not 2024 days. I'm doing it for 24 days because I think that's doable. But it's actually like difficult because I'm trying to plan the week ahead, and I'm trying to plan how I'm gonna get rejected. It's very difficult to come up with so many ideas because I live in like quite a small town, like high street, so it's like I either have to go out to do it, like I can't just do it in my high street. Anyway, so basically, rejection therapy hopes to remove any emotions to rejection or acceptance slash validation. Because, well, with this, some people be like, "Oh no, I don't care about rejection. That doesn't bother me." But I thrive off validation. Like I want people to validate me. I want people to like me. But no, I don't care about being rejected. Which those two things kind of can't coexist, because you're telling your brain, "Oh yes, validation's good. I need that. I need that." But rejection, oh, I just don't care about that. That's more just shutting off a part of yourself, not really accepting that part of yourself and working through that. That's kind of shutting it off, and you're kind of just telling your brain validation is the only good thing. Rejection therapy kind of proves to your brain validation, like acceptance and rejection, you don't need the both in your life. It only matters what you think about you. Obviously, like you're going to want validation from others, and that's okay, but it's just about removing any emotions towards it. It's like, it doesn't matter what other people think of me, I'm doing me, and that's cool. And it's just about accepting yourself. This is a cool concept because it is just removing emotions towards getting rejected. And I guess in that you're not clinging on to validation from others, especially people you don't know, because I think that's something our generation does a lot. We want validation from strangers who we don't even know, and I think that's obviously so fair to want validation from your family, your friends, or not even validation, just to be liked, obviously. But when they're strangers who are never going to see again, do we really need to be liked by them? Do we really need to go into their heads and be like, well, I hope they're thinking this of me, or I hope they're not thinking that of me? Um, you're still the same person before and after you get validated or rejected. You're not changing. Your DNA does not change when someone rejects you or accepts you. You're still the same person. Your thoughts are the only thing that's changing, but your thoughts can change by anything. It's just your mind going off into different like little places, different boxes, and being like, oh, they might think this of me, or oh, they think this of me. But it's like your DNA doesn't change. Your body doesn't change. Your like actual brain doesn't change. The way you're gonna live your life won't drastically change. It's just your thoughts. when someone validates you, that doesn't do anything for you. You don't change. Or when someone goes, "Oh, I don't like your outfit isn't going to magically change into a different color because they don't like that color on you. You know what I mean? It's just your brain and it's just your thoughts. So when you can control that a bit and just come to the terms, like kind of turn that part of your brain around and be like, oh, I can actually live however I want, pretty much. And it doesn't matter if people validate me or accept me because I know I'm doing me and that's okay. I think it only just goes a bit wrong when we're afraid to do things that bring us joy in fear of rejection from others. Because our brains are just, as I said, like very like, oh my god, no, like I got told no, I got rejected, oh my god, oh my god. There's nothing wrong with the rejection. It's all about the other person. If you get rejected, that is on that, like that's their thing. Obviously, that's their place to say no, and they have complete rights to say no, as everyone does. But it's like, that's their boundaries. They're respecting their boundaries. They're saying, oh, no, I don't want that. Or, like, whatever. Whatever the rejection is, that's on them. It has nothing to do with you. That's to do with them and themselves and their brains and their thoughts and their mind. It really has nothing to do with you. So, yeah, I think it's just kind of, I guess our brains have kind of just made it into this big thing of like, we all want validation from others. And I think when we can get to a place of just kind of neutral, obviously there's like, I mean, I still want validation from others, but I feel like I'm a lot better. Well, I know I'm a lot better than I was like 3 months ago. Like I don't seek validation from others 24/7. Like I would never, well, I'm trying my best not to let others dictate what I do in that sense. Like I wouldn't change my plans or change my passions in the worry of what other people are thinking of me, which I used to do, and that's really sad. But I do not do that anymore. Rejection therapy is like, it's a social self-help game. It's kind of where you actively seek out social rejection in an effort to better adapt to the stresses of rejection. There's no difference between validation and rejection, it's just your thoughts. And I guess it's kind of like exposure therapy. Like, obviously, if you're scared of something and you do exposure therapy, like you expose yourself more to it, and then you gradually become less scared because you realize there's nothing wrong with it. It's the exact same thing. But yeah, literally, it's the exact same thing. You're just proving to your mind nothing bad comes from it. Obviously, this is not putting yourself in dangerous situations. Some examples of how to do rejection therapy. So normally, as I said, it's a 30-day thing. So these are some ideas I came up with or I've seen online. So I saw one where there was this guy and he said one of his rejection ideas is he went to like McDonald's, whatever, he got a burger, finished the burger, and he said, can I get a burger refill? And you kind of keep playing with it until you get a firm no. And it's only until you get a no where you back down. Because then obviously you get rejected. So you basically can't back down until they've said no. Yeah, I love the idea. It's very stressful. But I think it's just fun. Like honestly, the amount of play it's added to my life in the past 2 days. But it's just fun because like every day I'm like, okay, how am I gonna get rejected? Like my mum asked me today, she was like, what are you doing today? And I was like, oh, I got this and this. I need to get rejected as well. And then yesterday I went to a dog groomer's. I do not have pet goats, by the way. And I said, would you groom my pet goats? She actually said yes. So that kind of backfired. But I did put myself in an uncomfortable situation. I went to the cinema the other day and I said, would you give me a refill of the popcorn? And I just was like, oh, so you don't do, so I can't come out halfway through the movie and get a refill of the popcorn. She was like, no. And I was like, oh, okay. I also, yeah, there's so many other, like, ask people if they want to play rock, paper, scissors with you, people you don't know. This is what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go to a cafe. I'm going to bring a cup and ask if they can just fill it up for me. Or like ask if they can just fill it up with coffee or something, or like, I don't know. So that's going to be, oh, it's very stressful. But it's just about leaving your comfort zone. And I think, yeah, I guess that's what it is. It's leaving you from your comfort zone, proving to your mind there's nothing wrong with getting rejected. And it is just a social construct and it is just all in your mind. So there's nothing wrong with it. And I just love it. And I think it's so fun. I genuinely think it's so fun. And even if you won't be able to stick to 30 days, try and do this once a week. Implement it to your life once a week. Give yourself, or maybe twice a week, or 3 times a week, or once a month. Like every day, like pick a day every month you have to get rejected. I think that's obviously probably a lot harder because like every month you can be like, oh my god. But like there's nothing wrong with getting rejected. Nothing bad comes from it. It's just your mind. You just need to turn that little switch in your mind, turn it around and be like, it doesn't matter. Like, it does not matter. I can do me. And also, I think it's just so fun. Like, how fun is that? Like, if you really do, like, at the moment, obviously, I care what people think about me. I asked if like, the dog groomers could groom a pet goat that I don't have. And I was, like, nervous. I was like, what are they going to think of me? And I'm like, that does not matter. That's just, like, a fun little thing. Anyway, but I think at the end of it, it's going to be really interesting to see how my perception has changed around validation and rejection. I definitely have the beliefs that validation and rejection are just all in your mind and they obviously don't change you. But I think it's going to be interesting to see because, like, even when I have been doing this for 2 days, and also there, like, has been other times in my life when I've heard of this a lot. Like, I have heard of rejection therapy, but I was like, I'm not doing that. But I was just like, why not? Like, I want to upgrade myself. I want to grow. I want to go 10 steps further than where I am now. Um, yeah, so that's why I started it. But I've done a couple things like this. Like, oh, what did I do? Oh yeah, like, this was something that pushed me outside of my comfort zone. So I used to just go out to London, say, okay, you have to compliment 10 people today. That really put me out of my comfort zone. And like, I'd be like, okay, try and compliment someone who have headphones in because that's quite nerve wracking. Or try and compliment someone who isn't walking towards you because that's like harder or whatever. Anyway, so I think I have done similar things like this in the past, but never quite as extreme. And it's interesting because when I do these certain exercises, I can see how my mindset switched so much because now I have no problem like with walking up to someone and asking a question. Like, that's not too much of an embarrassing question, you know what I mean? And yeah, I think that's great. And I think it's just like unlocking new levels of yourself. And I don't think anything bad can really come from it. Um, Yeah, and I think also, well, I'm speaking from obviously my own personal experience. I waste what I did. I'm trying not to anymore, but people can waste so much energy on rejection when it is just all in your mind. Like, people who have high sensitivity to rejection experience like high degrees of like distress, anger, pain, sadness, and all those things. And that must take up well, it does take up so much energy when obviously it's not just as easy as like doing a 30-day embarrassment course or whatever. Um, but if it does help even the slightest amount, that is so beneficial because it's just also giving back to yourself and it's like, I can do this. It's just proving your mind wrong. And like, really nothing bad is going to come from it. So if you're interested, everyone, let's go on a rejection therapy. Yeah. Yeah. I just love it. I think it's so cool. Um, and I think honestly we should be doing it. And also once the like 24 days are up for me, I'm gonna keep doing this, just not every day. Because like yesterday I wasn't planning on going to the high street. I was just planning on doing a walk, but I was like, okay, I have to go just to do it. So I definitely won't do it every day, but I'm definitely gonna try and at least keep it up like once a week. Because I wanna keep that part of me, if you know what I mean. Um and also so the first day of when I tried it, well, literally it was 2 days ago, but, I went to the cinema, and so I asked for the popcorn refill, and then I was gonna ask the person who scans the tickets, "Do you wanna come watch the movie with us?" But I was too scared, like, that was my heart was beating too quickly to do that, and that was okay. But I'm gonna plan on doing that on day 24 because I think I'll have so much immunity to it. So that's a bit of rejection therapy. Obviously, I don't know if there's a lot of science that backs it, but it is exposure therapy, and obviously there's a lot of science that backs exposure therapy. So it's just that. Um, it's just like not numbing yourself because I feel like that's the wrong word. Yeah, it's literally just exposing yourself to prove to your mind there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's so fun, and I think we can all learn from it. And let's talk about how rejection is redirection. This is something I've always believed in, something that's just always sat with me in the right place. And yeah, I can agree more with it. I think it's whenever we don't get something we want or something doesn't go our way, obviously not every single time, but 99% of the time, something better comes. That is my belief. It always has been. So for me, I think that is a lived experience I have. I think if that isn't your belief, you might not notice it, or you might not appreciate it, or your brain can't clock in when, oh, something went, oh, okay, but something actually better came. Maybe your brain can't clock that so you don't realize it. But I think for the majority of us that does happen. Like, if you don't get something you want, or like something doesn't happen, like if you don't get the job, if the relationship doesn't work out, um, whatever it may be, something better is coming for you, something is in the pipeline, and there's always balance. Like everything has to come back to you in the sense of if something like so you've got your life, there's like you've got your lifeline. If it dips, it has to come back up. Like there's always balance with it. And I think you can look at it so many different ways. Like so the way I like to look at it is something goes, something better is coming for me. That just fits in my brain. That's always worked for me. But for some people, that might be really hard to see and that doesn't work for them, which is completely understandable. So it might be easier to see. There's always balance. There's always like a yin and yang. It's always like, what's the little like, a seesaw? What's a seesaw? I want to say it's a seesaw. What's a seesaw? I want to say it's like a seesaw. Yeah, like that. You know what I mean? Like it has to weigh the same on each side, and it always comes back up, and it always everything kind of everything has to come up. If it goes down, it has to come back up. Whatever way works for you, find a way that works, and just kind of look back. Also, like you can do these practices. If you look back in your life when something really not something really big, but something happened, um, something really bad happened that just like is stuck in your mind. Think about the next 6 months after. Did something happen? Did something come back into your life? What was the like repercussion of it? Like what happened? What was the yin and yang of that situation? For me, it's very easy to pick out moments in my life where something bad has happened, quote unquote bad, and then something amazing has come from it. Not to say that's the case with every single situation, and not to say that bad thing, I wanted that bad thing to happen, but it's saying that something bad is always there for you. No matter what situation it is, there's always something. Like, there's always something you could do where you could be in a better situation. Not saying you should always be striving for more and you shouldn't accept where you are, but at the end of the day, there's always more. There is, and that's okay. But it doesn't mean you have to want it. Doesn't mean you have to get that. But there is always more. So when you think you're living the dream life and something bad happens, or like something like really like it just knocks you down, something better is coming because it has to come back up, and there's always more. There's always something else, and I think that's just a very peaceful way of putting it in your mind, knowing that it always comes back up. Some like examples, like so basically I used to horse ride a lot. Like I did it for 5 years. Well, like I still do it like once a week. But I used to have horses, and I used to have one that I saw every single day, and then he passed away the day after my birthday in October. I was like thriving with him, like that was perfect, that was my routine, that was what I did, like, every day, like I went down, saw him, rode, that was my form of exercise, going outdoors, all my friends were there, etc., 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 etc. And then that was just suddenly went in a day, very out of the blue. And then obviously absolutely devastated. And that was like what, 7 months ago now? 7, 8 months ago. Oh my god. 7, 8 months ago. And then suddenly, so like I started running. Well, my first ever run was back in November. It was Anna on the Run, and that just came into my life. Like I loved watching Anna's account, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go. I went. From that day, that was a catalyst event, and everything changed. I met so many amazing people there. I started going to run clubs, I started doing gym, I started joining run clubs up in London. And it kind of just spiked back up. Like it dropped so quickly, but it came back up so insanely quickly as well. And now I'm doing this, and like, oh my god, like it's crazy. I'm not saying this is like this has to, like, it happens every scenario, but if you choose to view it like, oh, okay, something bad happened, okay, I'm going to allow myself to feel this, but I know something better is coming. Or not better, something is coming. I'm not going to be left like this. I'm not stranded. My life isn't going to be like this forever. These are just feelings. They come and they pass. If you view it like that, your mind is going to be looking out for that thing. It's like, I don't know if you've heard this theory. I heard it on a podcast, and it was like, okay, so there's like this interviewer and the guest, I guess, and the interviewer asked the person, how many red cars have you seen on your way here? And she was like, oh, I don't know, like maybe like 3, I don't know. And then he was like, okay, if I told you before you left, I will pay you £100 if you can spot 5 red cars. You'll be looking out for them. You know what I mean? And she'd be like, yeah, like I'd spot out all of them. That's how your brain works. So if you tell yourself, okay, something bad happened, but something is coming, like I trust that something is coming, your brain is going to be looking out for that thing. Not obviously constantly, like it's not like constantly looking for the next thing, but it's like, okay, ooh, maybe that is the next thing for me. And it's kind of just training your brain to look for the positives in situations. Not to say you have to be positive 24/7, but I think that is such a benefit in just looking for like the good in situations. Because it does benefit you. Not saying it's very beneficial also to feel your emotions, be sad, be upset, feel everything. Very beneficial, and that's unhealthy if you don't let yourself do that. But if you tell your brain that, you're gonna adapt to that, and that's what you're gonna be looking out for. And to be fair, like, I could have been like, "Oh, no, I don't wanna go to the wrong club up in London because, it's winter, it's raining, I don't know anyone there, like, I've never run before." But I was like, "Okay, that could be my thing. That could be the thing." And that's what my brain was doing. I was like, "Maybe I'm a runner. Maybe I start going to the gym." You know what I mean? And just because I was like, "Okay, maybe this is my thing. This has popped into my life." And I was like, "Might as well try it." And then I did. And I was like, "Okay, let's keep going with this." And it is like, it is my thing now. And if something were to happen that would stop everything, I'd be like, "Okay, fine. I'm ready for the next thing." You know what I mean? And I think there's always something like, and it could be this, you can apply this to super small situations, or you can apply this to really big situations. I think everyone can take something from that, no matter what it is. Okay, you're stuck in traffic, you miss something better is happening. Or that saved my life. Okay, maybe there was a car crash up ahead and I just saved that. Or say, like, I don't know, I know, is it this like the burnt toast theory or something? Where like, oh, if you have burnt toast, so you have to put another piece in, that saved you from a car crash because you left 2 minutes later. I've heard that. Again, that's always been a core belief of mine. So that's always been something that's very ingrained in me. Like, everything happens for a reason. And I know a lot I don't know, I know a couple of people who don't like that, which is completely fine, and I understand that. But that's always fitted for me. And I do believe everything happens for a reason. But that just works for me, and I'm not saying that works for everyone else. And I think that is obviously a very general statement, and I think sometimes it's a bit like, that really did not need to happen. But then I feel like all the things that I've had in my life, good and bad, they've led me where I am today. Like, if I were to take out the bad things that's happened in my life, I would remove who I am as a person. Like, all the bad relationships I've had, all the interactions, all everything that's led me where I am. If I didn't leave some of the really toxic relationships that I was in, I so like, if I didn't have those, I would have never left them, and then I would have never been like, right, something needs to change. And then I would have never like started like actually looking after myself properly, doing this, doing that, like actually looking out for myself, doing everything like this, learning like I you can have boundaries and not be selfish. They don't go hand in hand, stuff like that. So that's just always fitted for my brain, but I also understand if it doesn't work for you. But yeah, it's just a mindset switch. It's just about looking for the good and bad situations at the end of the day. And if you can work with that and you can kind of train your brain to think that, then I think that is a very good start. Try it with the smaller situations. If today something goes wrong, just think, okay, well, something else is happening. This is the universe is redirecting me somewhere else, and that is okay. Yeah, so I will wrap it actually. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up there. I hope you've all taken something from this episode. Um, this is something that really aligns with me and I really love, and I've always had a like rejection is redirection, and everything comes back to you and everything happens for a reason has always been like they've all been core beliefs of mine for like as long as I can remember. Obviously I understand if no one, like, some people don't agree with that. But yeah, I hope you have a beautiful week filled with lots of joy. And if anyone does want to try rejection therapy, please let me know. Even if you just do it, like, try it as a one-off. Like, if you're somewhere and you don't know anyone, and you're just like, oh, like, what's the worst that could happen? Try it out. Have some fun. Life is a game. Go play. I'm sending so much love. Lots of love, Sky.